What is up, crypto world? My name is Yosef, aka Crypto Yosef, and today we're going to be talking about what is Ripple, what's the difference between xCurrent and xRapid, what's their use cases, why regarding people who just don't believe in XRP right now, and banks that don't use XRP currently and why they will at some point, a future partnership of a bank, why xRapid is actually better than xCurrent, and why all banks at some point will use Ripple technology, and why Ripple actually cares about the success of XRP, and also why XRP's price doesn't go up as every single partnership is announced. So there's a lot we're going to be covering. We're pretty much going to break down Ripple to its bare points, and we're also pretty much going to explain why Ripple has a huge future and an extremely bright future, and why you should get Ripple at 75 cents, as this is extremely dirt cheap, and you guys will see why 75 cents is going to be dirt cheap for Ripple. Even earlier this year, if we look, I mean, they had an all-time high here of $3.65. We haven't seen that for a while, and even at $1.30, Ripple is at half off right now from its recent average price, but even that was dirt cheap. So 75 cents is a bargain for Ripple, guys, and I'm going to be explaining that all today. But before we get into this video, I would really appreciate it if you guys did consider subscribing to the channel and turning on post notifications. I try to post as much cryptocurrency information as I can when I can, so please do subscribe and turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss any of those videos. Also follow me on Twitter. I try to tweet what I'm doing and what my ideas are on, trades, and where I'm moving my assets of cryptocurrency and stuff like that. Just want to build a community. Maybe you guys can give me some information that I don't know about. You guys can link me some articles. I can link you guys some articles. I can ask you guys questions, and we can build an interactive community here on Twitter as well. So please follow me. Link in the description of both of those. And yeah. Also, down below in the comments, before we start this video, please do comment down below letting me know when you guys got in on Ripple, and if you guys, how much Ripple you, well, not how much Ripple you hold, but when you got in on XRP. I don't know why I wanted to ask multiple questions, but yeah, when did you guys get on Ripple? And obviously from knowing when you got in on Ripple, we'll know if you currently hold a bag or not, but I personally don't think Ripple will have any bag holders for anyone who even bought in at Ripple at 365, and I'm going to be explaining that all today. So we're going to be breaking down every single thing Ripple is all about. And I'm not going to be the one mainly breaking this down. We're going to be breaking it down from a Brad Garlinghouse interview here from the Yahoo Finances Summit that happened today, I believe, or it was yesterday. And yeah, we're going to be breaking this down. So first, we're going to look at what is XRP. So if we come here to 2:30, Brad Garlinghouse will tell us.
To distill it?
Yeah, I would say we sell technology and solutions to banks and financial institutions to solve a payments problem around cross-border payments, a liquidity problem around cross-border payments. We've signed up about over 100 banks, 100 financial.
So that's what Ripple is. It wants to be a solution for liquidity for banks. And now he's going to be explaining what is the difference between xCurrent and XRP, or xRapid. And if we go over to 324, he'll start talking about that right over here. It's a little bit ahead. Hold on.
Kind of our flagship product is called xCurrent, and xCurrent is solving really the messaging and settlement problem that exists in the financial system today. Humorously, frankly, I point out to people that if the three of us decided we needed to get $10,000 or 10,000 pounds to London today, the fastest way for us to do that is to go buy a ticket, EWR or JFK, and fly it there. And that's just a fact. Obviously, that seems crazy in a world of the internet. I can stream video from the space station. So what that xCurrent is enabling is real-time messaging, real-time settlement between banks. The confusion that I think people are like, well, wait a minute, how's XRP fit? XRP is used in our second product called xRapid. xRapid is solving a liquidity problem. So it's the messaging is, I have an existing pool of capital between the Bank of Andy and the Bank of Dan. You're using big bank, very successful bank.
Bank of Dan is a good one. Yeah.
Bank of Dan. Andy's bank, a lot of compliance issues.
Oh.
These two banks are using xCurrent to settle fiat. A key point here. What happens, though, is you decide you want to settle with the Bank of Brad. The Bank of Brad is in Argentina, and we're using pesos. You don't want to pre-fund pesos in my bank. Now, part of that is because that requires an outlay of capital, and that's dormant capital. Part of that is because You now have a compliance check that you're doing annually and quarterly. There's cost associated with that. And if it's the Argentinian peso, you have an inflation problem. So you put 100,000 US dollars worth of, or probably $100 million worth of US dollars there that is now going to be worth less over time. What xRapid allows you to do is to have real-time liquidity. The Bank of Andy can sell $1, buy XRP. That XRP can then be moved to an Argentinian digital asset exchange. You can sell the XRP and buy an Argentinian peso, and now you have good liquid funds in less than 10 seconds in another market.
Now I want to make sure that we...
So that is what xCurrent and xRapid is, and probably the best way, and he gave us examples, best way you could really put it, coming from the CEO of Ripple, so of course it's the best way. So now we're going to be looking at people who don't believe in XRP right now and banks that don't use XRP and how that is going to change over time. So we're going to be going over to 618 here and taking a look at that. Hold on. There you go.
I was a CEO of a voice over IP company. I was a telco guy way
This is
back
people
when,
who don't
pre
believe in
Yahoo.
Ripple, the
Actually, I
product
came into
itself,
Yahoo.
and blockchain
Yahoo bought
in
a
general
company
too.
called Dialpad. I sat down with the CEO, at the time he was a very senior guy at SBC Communications. His name's Randall Stevenson.
I've heard of him.
He's now the CEO of AT&T.
Mm-hmm.
Randall Stevenson said to me in 2000, AT&T, was the time SBC, will never use IP for voice traffic. Now his point was, look, we have a robust analog switch network that works for voice brilliantly. We'll invest in data, we'll invest in IP data, and we'll have a separate network for that, and that's how it evolved. Well, today, there is no voice network at AT&T, it's all IP. I think the exact same thing is going to happen in the banking world. I talk to senior banks, people who are close to the company Ripple, they're invested in us, and they're like, hey, look, we love what you're doing around xCurrent. Not sure yet about xRapid. That's fine. It's Randall Stevenson. Like, I'm having an echo chamber. The xRapid product gives you a faster product at a lower price. Do we really not think that people are going to say, huh, that's kind of interesting? So over time, I view this absolutely as a crawl, walk, run. We're now working with over 100 banks around xCurrent. We've announced 4 customers using xRapid. Those are MoneyGram, Mercury FX, IDT, and Qualix, all payment providers. And
so he's pretty much talking about how at some point all these banks will want to use XRP, sort of like how at some point this guy who's the CEO of AT&T didn't think that IPs were going to be used by AT&T at all, and now that's all that's used, and he explained that there. So now if we go to 1412, he talks about a partnership that's not announced right as of right now at this Yahoo Summit, if you guys look at Ripple partnership with a bank.
The Bank of England is a paid customer of Ripple's. There's another central bank we haven't announced that we're working with very actively. We will continue to work with central banks. We'll continue to work with regulators.
So there's an announcement coming soon, guys, that they're going to be partnering with another bank. So this is going to be huge. And I'm not talking about the Chinese announcement partnership with that one bank that they got partnered with today. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about he's talking about a different one here. He mentioned earlier that he had that partnership. So now if we go over to 1535, give me a second here.
A real problem for a real customer, then there will be value in the asset.
He's talking about just
the
success of blockchain and the crypto market.
Explosion of tokens don't have a real purpose. I was early last summer, I was very active in saying, look, I think these ICOs are a very bad thing for the industry. There are exceptions that I would say, okay, that ICO, there's a real utility to that token, there's a real purpose. But look, a lot of these things I look at and I'm like, this is not going to end well. And then I think the comparisons people make to the dot-com bubble, I moved to Silicon Valley in 1997, I lived through that. There are some fair comparisons. But you also have to remember that Amazon was born in that era. You also have to remember that Google was born in that era. There are companies that are going to grow out of this crazy evolution, this crazy revolution, that are going to be very valuable.
And I think Ripple is definitely going to be one of those where they're working with a multi-trillion-dollar asset class here of banks and just being a solution for over-border payments. And I think Ripple is going to be one of the big players coming out of the blockchain and cryptocurrency market here, sort of like Amazon and Google were out of the dot-com bubble. Well, not the dot-com bubble, but the dot-com era with the Silicon and all that, Silicon Valley. So now if we come to 1719, he is going to explain why xRapid should be used instead of xCurrent.
existing pools of liquidity. Eventually, I'm working with the Bank of Andy, and he's like, hey, this is great, this is working great, I love what I'm doing, but I want to be able to settle into the Philippine peso. And I say, well, do you have a correspondent banking relationship in the Philippines? And you say, well, no, I don't. And so your option is to spend months negotiating. Literally 6 to 9 months is the average time to establish a new bilateral relationship. There's something called a nostro-vostro relationship. Andy parks dollars there, or parks pesos there, and the bank parks dollars in your account, I'm saying your dollars. You know, there's a better way to do this. And I think as banks increasingly understand, we're not changing the regulatory dynamics. We're not changing this. And they see it's faster and it's cheaper. I'm optimistic.
You talked about Argentina and the Philippines sort of metaphorically.
So let's go ahead and further his message here by going over to 2110.
Enabled through SWIFT. It's enabled through this correspondent banking network. Yeah. And there are a very small number of banks who dominate that, and they extract billions of dollars of profit from the rest of the banks. They sit on the top. You know, when you ask why is Jamie Dimon, you know, saying things about, Jamie Dimon, well, actually, Citi is kind of number one, HSBC is probably number two, but JPM is way up there at the top, and they're making a lot of money from other banks. When we go talk to banks, 99.9% of banks, they're like, we want Ripple to be successful. Because I'm sick of paying these guys, and you know, they're taking a lot of money from me that I then have to take from my customer, and why do I want to feed Citi to be more competitive with me in this local market?
Or at the very least, they've heard that blockchain is hot and they need to be doing something in blockchain.
And now we're going to be looking at cryptocurrencies versus the government, so Ripple versus the government, and how that will all play out, and if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
It's cracking down on and regulating more crypto in all sorts of ways. I mean, India, South Korea, even Japan, credit card companies, Facebook.
Yeah.
Does all that, is that all going to, I mean, is that the sign of a maturing business or the sign of a backlash?
I think it's a maturing business. You know, again, I'll go back to, I do think, for me, this feels a lot like 1996, 97 and the birth of the internet. And because I was a young whippersnapper doing stuff in Silicon Valley at the time, you know, the earliest days of the internet, governments were like, whoa, wait a minute, what does this mean? And there was lots of kind of whipsawing back and forth about what regulators are doing. I actually think most of what you see happening is regulators behaving as they should. They're trying to make sure that, hey, we have regulations around know your customer. There are reasons for that. And so if exchanges are trying to circumvent KYC requirements.
So that was sort of like how he kind of compares the blockchain cryptocurrency technology to, once again, the internet like Google, Amazon, NASDAQ, all that. He compares this to that, and how the government regulation and their little fear and stuff is normal, and it's happened before with the internet. So this is another revolution, so of course there's going to be a reaction similar to that. Now we're going to be coming to the end here, and we're going to be talking about XRP success and why XRP doesn't grow as Ripple announces bank partnerships and just money partnerships in general, just use case partnerships pretty much. So if we come here to 2649.
You said, you know, I don't define Ripple's success based on the price of XRP. Let's say that.
Short term.
Okay.
I said that in the short term. Look, to be very clear, Ripple owns 61.x% of all XRP.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
I want a very successful XRP ecosystem. The way I measure the success of that ecosystem is around volume, velocity. You know, the success of any asset is going to be dictated by its usage, by its demand. You know, my point was simply, I think my point earlier was, I don't think about this, and I try not to check the price of XRP, you know, multiple times a day. Sure, I probably check it once a day, but look, it's going to go up, it's going to go down. What I care about is if we are delivering for our customers, there's going to be increasing opportunities to use things like xRapid to solve a multi-trillion-dollar liquidity problem. That's an exciting thing to go out and solve. And frankly, for the employees at Ripple, I think there's a mission-driven, we want to put our dent in the universe and really enable an internet of value to
And now he's going to be talking about why XRP doesn't grow as Ripple drops announcements. So if we come here to 2815.
Fall based on as Ripple signs more banking partners.
Well,
but of course there's a market
yeah,
completely separate of everything.
There's a lot of speculation. I think that, as we've talked already, there's a lot of correct information. There's a lot of misinformation. I just, I try not to think about the price of XRP. I certainly don't comment on the price of XRP. I will again point out Ripple, the company, as an owner of 61% of the tokens today, is the most interested party in the success of the XRP ecosystem. And we will do things to invest in the success of the XRP ecosystem because that's in our best interest.
I wanted to get a question from the audience from Twitter from Alexandra Daly. Brad.
So that pretty much concludes this video. I could have done this obviously in my own words and kind of broke it down for you guys too. But I thought, why not just summarize pretty much what the CEO of Ripple said, break it down like this way. So like it just breaks down this 30-minute video, shrinks it down for you guys so you guys get as much information as you guys can out of XRP and Ripple and where it's headed and what the future of Ripple holds, and why you should get Ripple and why you should get XRP and why it is a great product and why it has a huge future. And why it doesn't have to be associated with Bitcoin, even though right now it is. Like every cryptocurrency here, its success is dictated around Bitcoin, as Bitcoin is like the father of all these cryptocurrencies. So if Bitcoin goes down, all these cryptocurrencies go down with it. It's like the ocean and this is the water, which makes no sense at all, but I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. Like, these are all the fish that swim in the ocean, and Bitcoin is the ocean. So if the ocean's going down, there's going to be fish that are going to be dying off with the ocean. And in that sense, it's like there's less room for these fish, so the market cap goes down of Bitcoin, and of course the market cap goes down for all of these as well. Hopefully I had a good analogy for you guys there. But at some point, I believe Ripple will break free from Bitcoin's huge ocean and have its own sort of pond or sea where it doesn't get affected by Bitcoin, and it's a separate sort of asset there in the cryptocurrency market. So that's my conclusion to XRP, Ripple, where it's headed, at the future of Ripple. Please do consider subscribing and turn on post notifications if you guys did like this video, and let me know if you guys watched the whole video. Comment down below Ripple 2K, even though that makes no sense. Just comment down below Ripple 2K if you guys watched this whole video. I want to know who watches these videos to the very end, because I appreciate you guys for listening to me and hearing me out, even though a lot of this video was the CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, telling you guys what Ripple and XRP is and what its future looks like. And also, please do follow me on Twitter. Like I said, I want to build a community here where we can interact, and I just want to talk to people sometimes about cryptocurrency. And you know, the best way to do that is just to throw a tweet out there, and you guys reply. It's instant. It's a lot faster than a YouTube comment system. So I would appreciate if you guys follow me on Twitter as well. And you know, as always, my name is Yosef, aka Crypto Yosef, and that brings me to the end of this video. Hopefully, you guys did enjoy it. See you guys next time.